Dean Stokes. Welcome to the show. Thank you for hopping on.
Thanks for having me.
I've prepared a few questions for you that will hopefully drive out some information that perhaps your fans are not currently aware of.
Okay.
Question 1. What is a UK ride people gas up because they feel like they should?
I'm just gonna go straight in. Grand National.
No elaboration there. It's just Grand National.
I think that there is a lot of nostalgia in general for people that love Blackpool Pleasure Beach. And don't get me wrong, I've been there a few times now over the years, and I love it. I think it's a great amusement park. Some of probably the best. I don't know if it is. They've got a great collection of roller coasters in the park. But Grand National, I think everyone seems to love. But the reality is, it's rough, it's uncomfortable. They can put however many inches of padding are on those seats right now, and you still come off feeling like you've been in a washing machine. And so I have a controversial opinion, which is maybe a separate question, that we should just knock it down and put something else in its place. But I try not to say that too often because I just know what the comment section is going to look like afterwards. Look, I think it's a great ride. I really love the idea of the roller coaster, but nostalgia gets you so far, right? And I would maybe compromise and say demolish Nick Streak first, and then do Nash. but anyway, we're lucky to have it in the country. I get that, but let's all just admit that it's actually not that pleasant to ride.
I can hear the pitchforks and the torches coming already.
Yeah. What have you got? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's fair. I'm in two minds. We're in a weird space where companies are either really keen to build brand new and scrap before things perhaps need to, or trying to keep things alive, which have been, long since past their peak for almost decades. And I think with certain rides like that, you have to weigh up with what the nostalgia value brings versus potentially what a new attraction can bring. If they're looking to get rid of something that is constantly breaking down and the throughput's crap, and it's also been around for 40 years, and as you say, people are going on it because we'll take one last swing on it. I think if you look at dinosaurs, I think over in the States, the queue for that was, next to nothing up until the last day, I think, that it operated, and it shot up to like 300, 400, 500 minutes. Absurdity and a load of bollocks. I think nostalgia is certainly important. However, at the same time, you've got to look at operationally what is going to work and what the target audience is. Is Blackpool Pleasure Beach going to become the museum of what were the best roller coasters? No, probably not. Let's get rid of them and then put them somewhere else where they can potentially be, displayed perhaps, or they can, meet their end perhaps.
I think realistically, Blackpool Pleasure Beach doesn't have the money right now to replace a ride like that. And so it should stay rather than go, right? If they're not going to replace it. But if they said, we're going to knock this down to replace it with something, I wouldn't be, I don't think, as mad as 90% of the enthusiast population might be about it. And I'm excited for Evictors. So it's great that they're investing in general. But there are constraints as a family-owned business as well. I get it.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. When does a coaster cross the line from intense to just not fun?
I mean, the obvious place for me to put this is saying from Odyssey at Fantasy Island to Infusion at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. That's when it crosses a line from being intense to just not fun. Same manufacturer, same coaster type, very different ride experiences. Don't get me wrong, Odyssey isn't smooth by any stretch of the imagination, but I come off it thinking, oh, that was actually good fun. Like, I kind of enjoy it. Whereas every time I've ridden Infusion, I come off it thinking, I'm never going to ride that thing again. But then every time I'm in the park, I think, I might as well do it. And it is just, the ride experience is just uncomfortable. That's, out of all the roller coasters I rode across the country, Infusion is the roughest. People talk about Turbo on Brighton Pier being the roughest roller coaster in the country, and I don't agree. I think that Turbo is child's play in comparison to getting on Infusion. which is pretty much the only roller coaster that I need to hold on the whole way around. Everything else that I ride, I just, I'll put my hand to my legs, put them in the air, whatever. I don't tend to find rides too rough, but Infusion is just another level. It feels more like a torture machine than a roller coaster. That's when things cross from intense to just not fun.
Does that mean we might see a turbo challenge all day?
I think if I was on the front row, I could probably hack that. Yeah.
Might hold you to that. What's a moment on a UK ride that you always brace for, even though you've done it loads?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I'm not sure I have an answer for this. I think I don't really find myself bracing for any particular moments. Infusion, I'm bracing myself the whole way round. One that comes to mind that is probably unexpected is the drop in 13. But it's less bracing for it and more just kind of waiting for the surprise. So the way that I tend to think about it is something that I heard Sean say on Theme Park Worldwide. I don't know, he said it a few times over the years, which is, don't let the roller coaster ride you. You ride the roller coaster. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing what he said, which is that whilst I'm going around the layout on pretty much any roller coaster, I'm looking ahead at where the next inversion's going, particularly if it's known to be a bit more rough. Like Smile is probably a good example. And lean into that inversion so that I don't get forced by the coaster to feel it and smack my head on the restraint as we go around.
That is an excellent answer. What is a UK ride where the anticipation is actually better than the ride itself?
I think this is the one that I didn't think of an answer of in advance. One UK ride where the anticipation is, I don't know. This is the thing. I think this goes back to the point where I can pretty much find the good in everything. And there are some good pre-shows. Like the pre-show that comes to mind is Wicker Man, but I think that ride is amazing. So that it's definitely not that, right? That builds some really good anticipation, and then the payoff is worth it. I don't know. What's your answer to this?
I'd be inclined to say Walking Dead, if I'm honest. At least when the ride was first rethemed, we had actors, we had people ushering you in, going, quick, 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 get yourself in. And then you quickly have to run through through the queue line. Well, what was the X No Way Out queue line. And then you get to the station, and then it's like, quick, go. And then the pacing of the coaster is basically a family coaster. So then it all kind of, to me, falls apart.
Yeah.
And the ride itself isn't forceful or particularly long or
yeah.
Yeah,
I think you could be onto something. I went on that at Thorpe Park on Pass Holders Day as well, and they had live actors, but the live actors are just two people at the exit where the old like photo shop was, where there's like a truck now. And that just seems such a waste. Like, put them in the queue line and make them jump out on me while I'm walking towards the roller coaster. That would feel like it's worth it. Whereas it feels like we're just paying 2 extra people just to be like, go, 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 and that's it. Well, one of them is pretending to be a zombie. I think jump scares would be better, but maybe that's why it's not jump scares, because you've got families going on it. Yeah, I think you could be onto something.
They'll start sending families in. We know it's like the old school scare mazes, hands on the shoulders, groups of 4, and all the rest of it.
I was just talking about that the other day, about Saw Alive and the old conga style thing of having to put hands on shoulders of the person in front of you, no matter whether they're a stranger or not. And just in a post-COVID world, that just feels like a really weird thing to do. And then now that they just basically batch people in groups anyway, you just think, why did we ever have to do that? It just feels a bit odd.
Yeah, super weird. What is a tiny detail in UK theme parks that most people wouldn't notice, but you care about way too much?
I recently did a 2-week trip to Orlando. I first went there when I was 17, and I didn't go back until like 3 years ago. And we just did a few days at Disney, whereas this was a full-on 2-week Universal Disney trip. And I think that one thing they do well that you don't really see often in UK parks is that the queues keep moving. I think people don't mind being in a long queue if it feels like you're getting somewhere. Whereas in most of the UK parks, I'm looking at you, Merlin, um, the queues just don't really feel like they're moving. And so it ends up feeling, if you're in a 40-minute or a 60-minute queue, like you're not really going anywhere. And in those long queues, often in the US, they're much better themed. So you've at least got more to look at. Whereas here in the UK, we're often just penned in to a place that has really high fences or is outdoors where there just isn't really any theming, or I'm just looking at some trees. And so I think it's really noticeable when you do get something good. But I don't think there are that many good examples. You know, I think you could look at something like Saw, which is a cattle pen, but it kind of works with the theme at least. Or the Smiler is kind of weird. It's pretty claustrophobic, but at least you've got the coaster to look at. There is a bit of anticipation. The music's annoying, but you can kind of feel it coming. So I think for me, it's noticeable when the operations are so good that a queue is actually moving. Most people probably aren't really thinking about that. They're just thinking this is annoying being in a queue. Whereas I guess I kind of would notice that, oh yeah, this is good. Not just because the operations are good, but because the queue line feels like part of the experience and I'm actually moving through it. That's a really boring answer, isn't it?
I think it's a political answer. I think you could teeter on the side of controversy if you wanted to. I think for me, often it's music. When you watch the kitten reels on Instagram, the rescue animals, it is the music that will get me, not necessarily the cat. And I feel that applies to the kind of suspense and thrill such in kind of attractions. Really, I think if the music's really good, even like Colossus, I really like Colossus is kind of like almost underwatery-esque feel in the station, and the, I don't know what you call the theme song for it. I'm not going to try and attempt it.
I think you should give us a little bit of the Colossus theme tune.
I
don't know why you didn't do that just now. That was great.
What is something small that a UK park has done to massively improve your day?
This is another boring answer. This is going to be the most boring episode you've ever recorded. What's something small a UK park has done to massively improve your day? Yeah, I think free parking. It sounds boring, right? But I think if you know, as I get free parking with my Merlin pass, I'm probably not going to renew my Merlin pass once it's done this like year. It'll get me through summer, and then I probably won't renew again, unless something like really big comes to one of the parks next year. But not having to pay for parking is a big deal, and I think there are some parks that get given a hard time because the ticket price seems high, but the reality is it includes parking, and I think it shows you why some parks choose not to include it, because then it looks like you're getting a cheaper ticket. But then on the flip side, you just feel like you're being ripped off when you're paying 13 quid on the way out of the car park at the end of the day. And so I think it's a very small thing that just giving you free parking doesn't leave a bad taste in your mouth when you leave. You might have had the best day ever, and then you realize that, oh yeah, I need to pay for my parking ticket, or I've got to pay for it at the barrier. Like, that just seems like such a sour way to end the day. So I think things like that. And what I wish I saw more of, actually, just kind of random acts of kindness from members of staff. I think they're just not given the ability to do it that much in the UK, whether it's just handing a family like a free fast track for a ride or something, or anything like that. But yeah, the boring answer, free parking.
Would you rather a UK ride be incredible for 10 seconds or a great 2 minutes?
This is a tough one. Because great for 10 seconds is incredible for 10 seconds is basically Hyperia, isn't it? Right, like a very short ride, but it's very impactful and punchy, and I love that ride. I think it's the best roller coaster in the UK. But my gut wants to say great for 2 minutes, because then you feel like that queue that you've just waited in and the anticipation that you've built up feels a bit more worth it. Like thinking about going on Hagrid's at Island of Adventure, that is a long ride, but it is incredible. It's not just a great ride for 2 minutes, so I don't think it's the best one to kind of compare to. But I do think about something like Smiler, which is a bit of a longer ride. That's probably not incredible, but it is great. I enjoy it when I ride it. I don't find it that rough. I think the last 2 or 3 versions have got some jankiness to them, but would I prefer another Smiler or another Hyperia? You'd probably prefer another Hyperia, wouldn't you? But then if every ride was only 10 seconds and incredible, you'd need a lot of them to make it a proper day out. I'm going to say great for 2 minutes.
I think it's fair. I think the 2 minutes gives Park Story an opportunity to create an experience that is truly immersive. Whereas I think it's quite difficult to be immersed truly for 10 seconds. You can certainly be scared enough to shit yourself within 10 seconds, though. So I suppose it's really what you want out of a park, doesn't it? And ultimately, we all want both, don't we? We want all the extremes.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think actually a good park probably has both of those. Right, a good park is going to have some 10-second rides that are absolutely incredible, that showcase the best technology that's currently available, against maybe some older rides or just cheaper rides that are 2-minute experiences that are just good or great. Yeah. Have you been to Portaventura? It's a great, but I haven't been for years now. So I haven't been since they opened Uncharted. Like I think I was last there a couple of years before that opened. But they have a drop tower called Hurricane Condor, which is incredible. Best drop tower I've been on. And they have one row where there's basically no seat. It's kind of like you just rest your butt on it. That's another level. And that's only a quick ride, technically. I mean, it takes a while to get up there, but really you're just riding for one drop. But that feels like an incredible experience for 10 seconds, and it's literally just a tower. But would I only want that in a park? I don't think so.
No. Is re-rideability more important than having a high peak moment in terms of coasters?
I don't think so. I think that you could argue that something like Stealth shouldn't actually be that re-rideable, right? When you look at it, you're like, this is a 5-second ride or whatever it is, 2 seconds acceleration, 3 to 5 seconds over the top hat, and then it's done. That you'd look at that and think, oh yeah, you'd get bored of that. But I think I could ride that all day. It's so fun. The launch doesn't get old. And so arguably, I think, no, I don't think re-rideability is more important than having a high peak moment. I think you should just create a great roller coaster, and the re-rideability will probably come with it.
What's a UK theme park opinion you've kept quiet because you know it'll start arguments?
I think I shared it earlier. I think we should just demolish Grand National and build something else there. I actually think the Merlin parks are pretty good, including Alton Towers. I think that, yeah, as an enthusiast that loves going there, I wish that I could see Alton Towers getting a bit more love than it's getting, and some more investment, a new ride. It's been too long since we've had another major ride added. Even if it was just a major flat ride or a dark ride, that would be good. But in general, the lineup of roller coasters there is pretty amazing. The issues are all with how the park is being run. Customer service teams not being given autonomy to actually help people. Queues not being managed well. Like I think outside of that though, like they're pretty good parks, and you can't really argue with the value of a Merlin annual pass. For the price that you pay, the access that you get to the parks is pretty good. For the UK, they're the best. They're the best that we've got, I guess.
I definitely agree. Definitely agree.
God, I feel like I'm going to get so much hate.
That's what I'm hoping for. It's what we need. We need some controversy and abuse.
Need the engagement bait, yeah.
Yeah. Right, onwards with the show and tell. What have you brought for us today?
So my thing is magnets. I basically get a magnet from every park I've ever been to, and a magnet for the better rides that I like. If there's a ride I've really enjoyed, I'll get a magnet for that as well. But I'm not going to just sit and show you my magnet collection. I thought probably right now my most prized thing relating to UK theme parks is this.
Yes, fair, right.
It's not a piece of merch, but it is the Guinness World Record for the most roller coasters ridden in a week. The official certificate framed that was given to me live on the Heart Breakfast show with JK and Kelly Brook. And it says the most roller coasters ridden in 1 week is 55 and was achieved by Dean Stokes from the 2nd to the 9th of August last year. And the way this came about was not through attempting to get a world record. Right? I just had this idea to try and ride every major roller coaster in the UK. And when I looked at that, so I went on RCDB, I looked at every thrill and extreme coaster across the country. It ends up being about 60 roller coasters or something. And I was like, okay, well, what if I rode every roller coaster at all of the parks that exist in? But if I happen on the route to drive past another park that only has a family coaster, then I'll dip in there as well. And that ended up being like 120 roller coasters. So I was like, okay, I don't think anyone's done this. So what if I just did it back to back, one after the other? I worked out to take about 2 weeks. And that's what I did. But on like day 2 or 3, Guinness World Records emailed me. And they said, do you want to attempt a Guinness World Record whilst you're doing it? And I went back and just said, well, that sounds fun, but like, what would the record be? Because it seems a bit niche to be like riding every thrill and extreme roller coaster in the UK. And they came back and said, well, there's this one hour system, which is most roller coasters ridden in a week, and no one's ever attempted it before. Do you want to do it? And I thought, well, if I'm just riding roller coasters anyway, like I'm already doing this, why wouldn't I apply to attempt this world record they've got? So I went back to them and said, look, that sounds amazing, but I don't think that I'm going to be riding enough for it to really be a world record. Like there's only so many coasters in the UK anyway, the distance apart, the opening hours kind of scupper you from doing more. And they came back and said, no, it's okay, because no one's attempted it before. We'll set you a minimum. And if you break that minimum, then you'll be the first person to get this Guinness World Record. And I mean, would you say no to that? Would you be like, actually, no, I'm doing this thing anyway. I'll just say no to that. I don't know. Would you?
I think it raises the stakes, doesn't it? I think it kind of just makes it game on.
Yeah, it made it more fun. So I was like, okay, cool, let's do it. So on that first week, then we had to I had to gather evidence. Every coaster that I've been on, submit all this. I had to fill out a long application. And I did it. And then at the end of it, got a Guinness World Record for most roller coasters ridden in a week. And of all the things I've said today, that is probably going to end up being the most controversial, that I have a Guinness World Record for most roller coasters ridden in a week, for it being 55.
I'm hoping that it might spur on my 5 regular viewers to attempt it, and you might have some competition.
Yeah, you should. And I would actually love to properly go out and make a go of doing the world record, because that isn't what I was doing before. And I think it's possible in Europe. I reckon in Europe you could get to like 100, maybe 120. Obviously, the US is the place to do it properly. But it's not only is it really time consuming, it takes a ton of planning. It's just really expensive, to go around to all these places and do it. So, when I first got given this on the radio, they brought in one of the adjudicator people in the fancy suit and were like, congratulations, is the world record. And I was like, oh, thanks so much. And I said, but here's the thing. I think this is easily beatable. So here's my call to all the enthusiasts out there. I want to hand this over to someone. I can't wait to see other people go and try and beat this record. This isn't like a really deep thing that I'm holding on to. No, this is a world record and I want no one else to do it. It's just fun. So let's just go out and have fun and have other people attempt it as well. I'd love to see that. I actually had an idea. Maybe I'll float that idea right now and then see whether people think it's a good idea. And the idea is, what if I set up a trip where we get a group of people together and we go and break the world record as a group?
Sign me up. 26 is going to be a big year. What's
Yeah.
in the future for you? What's in the future for Dean Stokes?
Do you know what? I have a spreadsheet of ideas of videos that I would like to make. Shall I just open it and read some of these ideas I've never told anyone?
Is it I ride hero all day?
No, they're bigger than that. Previously, I have played the alphabet game on roller coasters, and
Great idea.
that seemed people seemed to like it. Uh, so I've actually recorded more than I've released. I need to release a couple more of them, but I want to do that some more where I can film on rides. So next time I go to Blackpool, if they will be so kind as to allow me to film on a couple of rides again, we'll probably do more of that. I talked about the Guinness World Record as a team. The whole reason I started this last year was just that I wanted to get out and have more fun and just be more unapologetic about having fun doing something that I really like. And I think everyone should be, whether your thing is theme parks or roller coasters or something completely different, just don't let judgment stop you from doing it. Just get out there and let's have some fun. So my big thing for 2026 is I just want to have more fun. That's what I'm trying to do.
Truly inspirational, Dean Stokes. I love it. Well, thank you very much for coming on to Q Times. You have a wonderful day, sir.
Thanks for having me.